Hey Fragrance family, I'm Daver.
And I'm Cy. And we're
the Fragrance Bros. Coming at you again with another review with special guest host Cy from Frag Boy Stewie. How are you doing, Cy?
Doing great, Daver. And yourself?
Doing great. Great to have you on. And today we are reviewing Aventus for Her by Creed. Alright, so let's get straight to it. A date introduced is 2016. It's classified as a Chypre fruity. Notes are patchouli, green apple, bergamot, lemon, pink pepper, violet, sandalwood, rose, musk, styrax, peach, blackcurrant, lilac, ylang ylang, and amber. Now, Cy, what did you get out of longevity out of this?
Longevity is not the greatest. On my skin, I get like 4 to 5 hours of longevity, and that's kind of a bummer, really, because Aventus for him gives me much better longevity. Like, I get almost all day.
Wow. On me, it was actually really good. Like, really, really strong.
I told you this before. I wish I had your skin.
But on me, it lasted at least 10 hours.
Wow.
I mean, it lasted a really long time. And I tried it several times to make sure it wasn't a fluke. Sometimes it is. But yeah, each time it was really strong. What about projection?
I felt like this was actually pretty soft on my skin. It did have a pretty good sillage. The central was pretty good, but I felt like it was definitely close to my skin most of the time. For the first hour, it had a pretty decent projection, about 2 feet, I would say. After that, it wasn't really, it was kind of close to my skin. The central was pretty good, and the way I can say that is by my friends who could actually smell me after I left the room.
I don't know what it is, but it was really strong on me with projection as well.
Man, your skin is like, I don't know, like the Hulk skin or something. You're just like radioactive all the time. Jeez.
Yeah, so we actually reviewed from the same decant.
I know, right?
So it has nothing to do with different batches or anything. But yeah, on me, the projection was really strong. It actually made my wife's eyes water when we were in the car. And so yeah, Hulk skin.
Hulk skin. You get ninja notes out of these fragrances, and you're Hulk skin. Man, you're a superhero.
That's right.
What are you doing here? You belong to like Marvel or something.
Season, I'd say this is great for spring, great for summer, just like regular Aventus for men. And purpose, I would say this is really good for casual and work. Now, Cy, what does this remind you of?
So a couple of things, and I said the same in my first impressions as well. So the very first time I spray this on, it kind of reminds me of the opening of Royal Mayfair, because it has that kind of a menthol kind of a vibe to it in the opening. And it also, weirdly enough, and no other reviewer got this, but it kind of reminds me of Cedrat Boise by Mancera. It could be that richness that the patchouli, brings to the scent, along with the fruitiness, because Mancera, Cedrat Boise, doesn't really have a pineapple note. It has this blackcurrant, a little bit of apple in the background. This one also gives me a similar kind of a vibe. So those are the two fragrances that this one reminds me of.
So this is Aventus for Her. That's the thing now.
Yeah, official.
This had a lot of hype. Just from the title. Some people thought it was like an April Fool's joke or whatever. I remember when someone posted this, I thought it was a legitimate hoax.
Yeah.
I did not think it was real. And the more I looked into it, the more I'm like, wow, this is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. And of course, Aventus for him is huge. And rightfully so. It's a fantastic fragrance. It is a very modern, masculine scent that is powerful and really evokes just a lot of masculinity. And I think everyone universally really agrees with that. I know there's some people that don't like it, but generally the consensus is it's a great masculine modern fragrance. When I'm smelling this, the first thing I think of is this is a nice fragrance, but it doesn't smell like Aventus for Her should smell.
Yeah, Aventus for Her, the moment I heard that name, I thought it was going to be fruity but floral, a lot more floral. But as the scent turns out, it's more deeper. It has this damp patchouli kind of a vibe from the background, and in all honesty, it actually smells a bit more masculine than the original Aventus to me. Like the original Aventus for him, I think ladies can pull that off, but Aventus for Her, I personally think that guys can pull that off more than ladies. It's just my personal thing.
I find that actually really interesting, just because I personally think that Aventus for him is very masculine, but I do agree with you about the women's version. Aventus for her, I do think, is masculine enough. You know, I've tested women's fragrances before, and a lot of times, you know, I'll wear them reluctantly, knowing that I have to review it. It kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable sometimes because it smells so feminine to me on certain fragrances. But when I wore this, I didn't feel that way at all. To me, it just felt like just a really nice, fruity, fresh fragrance. With the exception of the really strong rose note. The scent itself has a lot of green apple at the top. You smell a lot of apple. You smell some peach, and I get a really strong rose note right at the top. The rose note is not super overpowering the fragrance, which I appreciate here.
Yeah.
But it's really noticeable.
Yeah.
And so that fruity floral component is really the backbone of this scent. I kind of think that is inevitable here because Aventus for him is a fruity masculine scent. So they had to go with some kind of fruity fragrance here, and the only other connection they can really do for a woman, really, unfortunately, is fruity floral. Mm-hmm. The problem is that's been done so many times by generic scents that it's like mind-numbing. It's like, oh, this has been done a million times before. I also don't know why no pineapple? Why can't they make a pineapple Aventus for her? I don't understand why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest draw to Aventus to start with.
I don't know what Mr. Creed was thinking about.
I think this is actually very good scent. I just don't think it's necessarily as good as the name Aventus. I think Creed, whenever they were going into this, thought, you know, Aventus is wildly popular. Now let's make something that can just ride on that success.
Totally, and 100% agree.
I mean, that's got to be what they're doing here because I've never seen Green Irish Tweed for her. I've never seen, some of the other ones, Original Santal for her.
Yeah.
Never seen those because it's not quite as popular as Aventus. I mean, that's a phenomenon. They are cognizant of their own hype, and they were going into it with that in mind, just making essentially a flanker. I'm okay with that. You know, good for them. They're mindful of what they're doing, as long as they're just making something that is quality and good. In this case, I do think it's very good. I just don't think it should be called Aventus.
I think upon the third or fourth time when I was wearing this, that is the same exact thought that occurred to my head too. I was like, they should probably have named this something else. Like maybe, I don't know, I mean, not going to take any guesses here at the names, but Aventus for her just did not feel in place for some reason about the way this one smelled. I don't know, I just expected, I guess, it was probably more of an expectation thing where I expected the scent to be much more softer, much more floral, as opposed to being, rich and all that other stuff.
Yeah, overall I think it's a very good fragrance. The dry down is nice as well. It retains some of that sweetness from the beginning of the fragrance and the floral aspects. Loses kind of that bright fruitiness and then kind of gains a patchouli vanilla type of scent and has almost like this real kind of fuzzy feeling, which I think is nice. The one thing to me is, Aventus for him kind of personifies masculinity. Aventus for her doesn't really personify femininity, in my opinion. Maybe there are some women out there who disagree. I'm not really sure. Really well done. Just, it kind of, this should be called just something else. Now, what about compliments? Or what does your girlfriend think of this?
She wasn't too thrilled about it. And
okay.
I didn't really get a lot of compliments with this one. I did get a couple of notices, but I mean, like people who watch my channel, they know who Danielle is. And so Danny smelled this and she immediately wanted to wash this off because she thought it kind of reminded her of a bathroom tile cleaner or something. I don't know why.
Wow.
So that's what she thought, and I really did not get any major reactions from people wearing this fragrance, the kind that Aventus gets me. Aventus drives women wild sometimes, but this one, no, not really.
Yeah, I didn't really get any notices. I ran it by my wife to see what she thought. She thought it smelled okay. Of course, in the car, it burned her eyes, and she actually had to stop the car for a minute
Jeez.
and wipe her eyes, so that was something. Usually what I do is I go to her and ask her what she thinks, and then I tell her what it is. And so then I can kind of get an unbiased opinion before it's informed by the name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I told her that it was Aventus for her, and she was kind of a little bit perplexed. I don't think that she thought it was overtly feminine, judging from her reaction, but she thought it was nice. So I think this really could be very much a unisex scent, and I think she probably would agree with me there. The one thing that I was really hoping for is, in this case, I was kind of hoping I would not get any compliments out in the in the world wearing this scent, just because if I were to tell someone, yeah, I'm wearing Aventus for her, that's kind of just a little bit of a weird thing to talk about, in my opinion anyway. I know some people really like to wear gender-bending fragrances. I just don't.
I do.
Yeah. All right, so bang for buck, this is $405 for a 75 mil. That's actually about $80 higher than Aventus of the same quantity. I don't know if it's the quality of ingredients or what, but it's higher than normal.
It's kind of stupid. I mean, they're probably just cashing so much out of that Aventus brand. This is definitely over the top, in my opinion. I wasn't thrilled about the price of this fragrance. I think they probably should have kept it the same.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's so high. You know, people can charge as much as they want. Retail for creeds are really, really high. In this case, it does kind of perplex me that they're pushing it $80 higher for the same quantity of juice as Aventus. It makes me think that they are purposely gouging the customer. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I haven't checked the women's prices of their fragrances. Maybe their regular prices of their women's line are higher. I know that is sometimes the case with fragrances. The value here is kind of a weird thing to gauge. On me, it lasted a long time. On you, it didn't. But even with that out of the picture, I think this fragrance is very, very nice. It doesn't do anything that other fragrances haven't done. So I think you can probably get very close to this fragrance in another fragrance, like you said with Cedrat Bois. But I've smelled this type of fragrance before. It's not going to change the paradigm.
It brings nothing new to the table. Aventus for him, no, that was a game changer.
It was.
Yeah.
You're right. All right. So final rating, Si. What do you give this?
My scale is 10, so I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's worth the retail price for sure. Now, I got a decant of this, and I'm happy with the decant. I'm not going to purchase a full bottle of this. So, yeah, it only gets a 6.
It's hard for me to gauge this. I like the fragrance a lot. I'm going to say a 4 out of 5. That's probably being a little bit generous here. 4 out of 5 on scent. I think the scent is really nice. It's very, very nice, very pleasing, very casual, easy to wear for men and women alike, I think. It's not really Aventus for her, in my opinion, and the name. I think it's just another creed fragrance for women. And the price is really outrageous. It's a very pleasing, pleasant scent overall. So that's all we have. Let us know if you tried Aventus for her down in the comments down below. Do you like it, love it, hate it? Let us know. Of course, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below. We'll love you for it. And I'll have links down below to Si's channel where you can go and check out Si. Thank you again, Si, for coming on.
Thanks a lot, David. It's always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time. We're the Fragrance Brothers. Bye.